Hi, boys and girls. My name is Miss Melissa, and it's time for art class. Guess what we're going to be learning about today? Irises. That's right. Just like the picture that you see here, there are a lot of irises growing, but we're going to learn specifically about Louisiana irises. Did you know that the iris is the symbol for the Louisiana state wildflower? I thought we could celebrate this Louisiana historical symbol by drawing and printing our very own iris, just like this. I actually have an iris to show you. It's not a real iris because the ones that I have in my yard are not blooming yet, but I could show you an example of what one would look like. This is actually a fake flower of an iris, but you could see the stems are actually very thin and the leaves are very thick. Now, if you take a look at the flower petals, you could see there are three main petals. We have 1, 2, and 3 with the center. You see the center and how it makes these little yellow marks on each petal? So we are going to print and draw the Louisiana iris. Come on, I'll show you your supplies so we can get started. You are going to need 1 sheet of white paper, just like this. And I want you to choose one color sheet of construction paper. It could be anything, pink, blue, green, yellow, orange, black, brown, whatever color you want. I chose an aqua blue. So you need 1 white paper and any color construction paper of your choice, okay? You're also going to need a couple of pencils, an eraser, 1 glue stick, and if you don't have a glue stick, you can get a glue bottle, and lastly, your box of crayons. I thought you would like to see a famous print made by a famous artist. This picture has lots of, I don't know if that's maybe like blue irises with 1 white iris. Can you see the tall stems and leaves? This is a very famous print of a painting by someone named Vincent van Gogh. This is what he looked like. Here is a print of a painting actually made by Vincent van Gogh himself. He painted a self-portrait. He is famous for many different kinds of paintings, as well as his iris picture. Now here's a picture of Louisiana purple irises. You could see it's very similar to Vincent van Gogh's painting, right? They're growing in bunches, and you could see the tall stems and leaves, and then some across the field. These are in Louisiana. Now, here are some more Louisiana irises, but instead of purple, these are white. Very good, and as you can see, they grow in patches, groups of flowers all together. Now, I have something really neat to show you next. Here is a picture of a color wheel. Now, you might be thinking, why are you showing me this color wheel, and what does this color wheel have to do with Louisiana irises? Well, I'll tell you. Take a look at the 3 main colors that I have in the shape of a triangle with circles at the end. What 3 colors do you notice? Let's go over them. Red, yellow, and blue. Now, these colors are on a color wheel. These 3 colors, red, yellow, and blue, are special because they make all of the other colors on the wheel. These 3 colors are the primary colors. Would you believe me if I told you that irises also came in the primary colors? I'll show you. Take a look. This is a Louisiana iris where the petals are actually red. If you notice, you can see the iris up close. You see 3 large petals and 3 small ones in the middle. And there's a little bit of yellow coming out the middle. So there's a red iris. Now what's the other primary colors? Yellow and blue. Okay, let me show you a yellow iris. Now you can see the veins in the petals very easily, but I can see 3 big petals. That's a common trait that you will see with irises. They'll have the small ones come out the center and the big ones fall over the side. So what do we have left? Red, yellow, and blue would make our last primary color. Let's see if we could look at a blue iris. Many people have blue irises growing in their yard. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3 big petals that fall over with the small ones in the middle and yellow shooting out the center. We are going to now create our very own iris with your choice of primary colors. And we're going to do it by drawing only curvy lines today. This line is the magic line of the day. We are only going to use this line to draw everything. The stems, the petal, and the leaves. All right, boys and girls, what I'd like you to do is put your colored paper, put it aside. We're only going to need the white paper for right now. We are pretty much going to be drawing and making a print, which I'll explain later, onto this paper. So what I'd like you to do is follow me. You can copy off of me. Keep in mind, it's not going to come out exactly, and we don't really want it to. We all have our own way. All right, so first thing I want you to do is take your pencil. We're just going to be using our pencils, okay? Now I'm going to use a darker pencil so you can see. All right, now at the bottom of your paper, you can start from the bottom here and make a curve up here. Or you can start from the bottom on this side and make a curve to the top. So watch, I'm just going to pick a side. I'm going to make a curve and go a little bit past halfway and stop. So this may be the middle. You're just going to go a little bit past halfway, almost up to the top. We need to leave some room for our flower petals right here. So start at the bottom, make a curve right past the middle, almost to the top, and stop. As soon as you do that, I want you to draw a straight line and draw a curve right next to it. And remember, we are drawing an iris. The stem of an iris is very thin. See? This is the stem. It holds the plant. They're pretty thin. What I would like you to do is we're going to draw the leaves of an iris. Now, you can pick, somewhere's in the middle. So go ahead and put your pencil in the middle of the stem from the top to the bottom. Find the middle, okay? Now copy off of me. You're going to make, remember our line, we're going to use curvy lines today. We're going to make a curve. You're going to curve out and you're going to curve it in, but go straight down like that. And we can draw a line in the middle, curvy line in the middle. So we put our pencil on our stem, we curved out, and then we curved in towards the bottom. Remember, the leaves are big and thick. Okay, now this isn't a real plant, but you could see it starts off kind of close together and it gets thicker as it comes out. Okay? All right, now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but maybe not have it so even, so I might maybe start my leaf a little lower. You could even start your leaf a little higher. I might go higher, actually. Okay, so you decide where you want a leaf to be. Put your pencil on that side of the stem. We're going to draw a leaf on this side. Curve out and curve back in. And then you can make a curvy line on the inside. Good job, boys and girls. So you should have one leaf on each side. So now the drawing is over. So far, what kind of line have we used? Curvy lines. We're still going to use curvy lines, but here's the trick. We're going to trace our hand. I want you to take your hand, put your fingers together. I want you to turn it on its side and make a curve. We're making a curvy line with our hand. This is how we're going to draw the petals. All right, can you see this? We have 1, 2, and then we're looking at the big petals, and 3. Now, notice how they kind of curve downwards. That's what we're doing. We're not going to draw the ones in the middle. We're going to draw the big ones that curve down. So if there are 3 big petals, we have to trace our hand how many times? 3 times. We're going to use our hands to make the big petals. All right, so ready? After you make your curvy line, you see your pinky? It doesn't matter which hand you are. I want you to put your hand on one side of the flower with your pinky touching the stem. And I am just going to lean my pencil up against my hand, and I'm going to trace my hand. And look what I get. You kind of get this droopy shape. It went over my leaf, but that's okay. This was the side of my hand. Okay? Now we're going to do it again. Except this time I'm going to want it going up and down. So turn your hand. You're just going to do it 3 times. So here's the second one. Okay? Keep your hand in a curvy line and trace the side of your hand. Is it going to come out perfect? No, it's not supposed to, because flowers are not perfect. All right, so while you're tracing your 2 handprints, I'm going to erase the leaf because I'm not going to see the leaf. I'm going to have the petal in front of the leaf. All right. So boys and girls, remember we are printing or tracing or copying. We're making a copy, however you want to say it. Our hand, how many times? 3. How many petals do we have? 1, 2. So now it's time to make our last one. Our last petal needs to go on this side, right? But here's the trick. I draw with my right hand. That means I'm going to have to draw with my left hand to get this petal to go this way. So you can switch hands and try to trace with your opposite hand because we want the petals to fall down. Our pinkies need to touch the center. Now, if you're uncomfortable with switching hands for your last petal, you could always have your hand that you were using, and the petal could just be flying upwards, okay? Just keep in mind, your pinky needs to touch the center. So I'm going to switch hands and trace. It feels very weird to draw with my left hand because I usually draw with my right. But irises tend to kind of hang on the side. You see that? Pretty cool, huh? Now I made some scribble areas, but that's okay. So I'm just going to erase and kind of clean it up a little bit. So if you want your iris petals to naturally fall like they usually do for that last petal you traced, you're going to have to switch hands and trace. Use the hand that you're not used to drawing with. You might surprise yourself. So let's go over the parts as you're finished drawing. We have the stem, which was pretty thin, the leaves, which were pretty thick, and the flower petals. Now, did we draw the flower petals or did we trace them? We traced them, that's right. And now we could see the copy of our handprint. That is also called printing. We made a print. I made it with my right hand, and I made 2 prints with my left. Now we can add the color. Boys and girls, I would like you to choose one of the 3 primary colors. You can color your iris yellow, blue, or red. Okay? Now imagine seeing the whole class's irises. It would be a wall full of primary colored irises. How neat is that? So make sure you choose one of the 3 primary colors. And obviously, what color are the leaves going to be? Green. That's right. I want everyone to have a realistic picture, meaning we're not going to have pink leaves and purple leaves. We want to make it look like a real iris, okay? So now you can start adding the color. I want to color my iris yellow. So I'm going to do that. Now, does your iris have to be yellow? No. You might want a blue iris, or maybe you even chose a red iris. And we're just creating the 3 large petals. We're not going to worry about the 3 small petals. But I would like you to add some yellow shooting out the center. It's going to be kind of hard for me to do that since my petals are already yellow. So just go ahead and continue coloring your iris. Everyone should have some lines of yellow. It'll be easier to see in your blue and red iris. And since my iris is yellow, I'm going to show orange coming out of the center. There we go. How's that? That's close enough. But most irises have yellow that come out the center. So I'm just going to add orange just so you can see it. As soon as you're done coloring your flower petals, you can go ahead and start coloring the stems and leaves. Now you can use any shade of green. You might have 2 different shades of green. Some of you may have 4. You can choose any green you would like for the leaves. I bet you probably had no idea that the side of your hand in a curvy line shape would make the petals of an iris, did you? It's pretty neat, huh? All right, I think I'm pretty satisfied with mine. Boys and girls, you're going to have a chance to color your background, whatever color you would like. Keep in mind, maybe there will be grass growing with your iris. There might even be other irises growing. So you can be creative and draw grass or other stems and leaves of irises. You could also maybe color some dirt if you would like. So you would need brown. Maybe you would have the sky in the background. So I'm going to let you be creative and you color your background the way that you would like. I think I'm going to have some, I don't know, maybe some, a couple of leaves coming from the ground. I'm going to have a couple of stems coming out from the bottom because this is my patch of irises. They grow together. So I'm drawing a few stems and leaves. And I think I may even have maybe some areas of dirt and then a sky in the background. I'm going to get really creative. So continue coloring your background, and what I'm going to do is give you a sneak preview so you can see what my picture actually came out like. I like the idea of having the stems and leaves of my irises because a lot of times you do see these flowers growing in patches, don't you? Remember those pictures that I showed you? All the purple ones were together and all of the white ones were growing together as well. And you can really create as many stems and leaves as you want. But we're just going to have one big iris growing so we can really focus on that one with the petals that you chose. So I think I'm going to make this the grass. Again, I'm going to show you how this comes out when I'm all finished. So that way you could see how my background turned out. Now I'm probably going to color the grass a little bit lighter than I colored the stems and leaves because I want you to be able to actually see them. I don't want the stems and leaves to get lost in the grass. So I'm going to press a little bit softer. Now you can use different shades of green if you're deciding to put grass in your picture. Maybe your grass will be a little bit darker than your stems and leaves, or maybe it will be a little bit lighter. So this is the fun part. You get to be creative. What would you like to put in the background of your picture? Maybe you just want a purple sky because it's stormy. Or maybe you just want a blue sky because it's sunny. Maybe you want a pink and orange sky because of the sunset. All right, boys and girls, take a look at my finished picture. I told you I was going to give you a sneak preview. So what I decided to do for my background was to continue to draw more irises by drawing the stems and leaves, because remember, irises grow in patches, right? And I just wanted to add some grass and some dirt, and I wanted to add a sky. This is my orange sunset sky. I'm really happy with my picture. Now, you're going to probably have to finish your background later on in class or at home. And keep in mind, you don't have to have the same background that I have. You can just have one solid color if you want. If you just want to color a blue sky. Maybe you just want brown dirt. It's really up to you. But right now, I need you to stop coloring because we're going to glue this drawing to your color construction paper that you chose. It's going to give it a nice border. So please get your glue stick, take the cap off, and you're just going to need a little bit of the glue to stick out. Now, if you don't have a glue stick, you can always use a glue bottle and you would just put 4 dots of glue. But since I have a glue stick, I'm going to draw a rectangle with my glue. Basically, I'm just going to rub the edges of it because my paper is in the shape of a rectangle. Okay, now you're going to turn it over and try to glue it in the center of your construction paper that you chose. Once you stick it down, just rub the sides, and there you have it. Your Louisiana iris. I hope you enjoy drawing and printing it with me, and enjoy finishing your background. Great job, boys and girls. I'm so glad you joined me today. I had a lot of fun drawing and printing our Louisiana iris. Do you remember the kind of line that we used to make all of the parts of our flower? I'll give you a hint. We used this type of line to make the stem, the leaves, and the petals. Curvy lines, that's right. Do you remember tracing your hand onto the paper to make the petals of the iris? We made a copy by tracing our hand in the shape of a C, which made a curvy line. Do you remember what the other word for copy is? Printing. Very good. You actually printed your hand onto your paper. That is a type of artwork. And lastly, there was something really neat about the colors of the Louisiana irises. Irises can be white or purple, but they can also be red, yellow, and blue. What is so special about these colors? Do you remember? That's right. Red, yellow, and blue are the 3 primary colors. Pretty cool, huh? Well, as you go through the rest of your week, I hope you can draw and print some more Louisiana irises. Maybe you can pick a different primary color for the petals this time. Well, I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.